ProGold XP Online Tutorial. Topic 3. Agent Setup. Requirements: agent Social Security numbers and commission plans entered. This topic will cover the setup of all items needed for the agent profiles. Commission deductions will be set up, and then agents are entered. Company offices and co-op offices will also be set up. Agent deductions. The first two items, agent and company deductions, work in a very similar manner. The main difference between the two is where they apply in the commission process. Agent deductions are taken off the bottom, directly out of the agent's commission. Company deductions are taken off the top, before the split between the company and the agent. On the Main Properties tab, click on the Agent Deductions icon. Again, these are deductions that come out of the agent's portion of the commission. Most will have an LS and SS deduction, and both are virtually identical. LS is used for the listing side in a transaction, and SS for the selling side. Deductions can either be set as a percent or a fixed amount, and are set up with a debit and credit account to reflect where this will appear in the chart of accounts. Some of the commonly used default deductions are already set up, but you can make any changes or add any new deductions as needed. As you look at the deductions, take note of the options to set up, whether it's a fixed or a percent, if it is a percent, what it is calculated on, if there is a cap to how much is collected, the debit and credit accounts, if a vendor is paid, and if the deduction reduces the agent's 1099 amount. The first two are LS personal referral fee and SS personal referral fee. They are used when one agent in your company gives another agent in your company a personal referral. Currently, it is saved as a fixed amount with $0 specified. This allows you to manually enter the amount of the deduction when this is selected. For a percent, there is a field for calculation amount. This tells the system what to calculate the fee based on. Agent gross commission, or agent earnings, is the agent's gross commission earned from the commission split, or the commission prior to deductions. Adjusted gross commission is the total side gross commission income earned minus an outside professional referral fee. Adjusted GCI, the total side gross commission income minus any deductions that reduce GCI. Net GCI, the total side gross commission income earned minus any deductions. The only thing you need to specify here is the debit credit account. The credit account will probably be set to the checking account so that a check can be created at close for this referral fee. Right now, we will leave the vendor field as Select Vendor. But when this deduction is used, you will select the agent who will be receiving this amount. Reduced 1099 should also be checked because this transfers income from one agent to another. Join deduction is for joining two deductions that count towards the same cap amount. For example, if the cap for a deduction applies to both the listing and selling side combined, then you would join them together. When the changes are complete, click Save at the bottom of the screen and use the arrows in the bottom left corner to move to the next deduction. For deductions that have an LS and SS entry, make note of the changes made to one so that you can duplicate them in the other. Typically, the only difference in the LS and SS entries are the side they apply to. The other deductions already set up are E&O insurance and transaction fees. Make the necessary changes to either set up your fees and accounts, or you can reuse the entries for other deductions. Once all of your agent deductions are set up, click Done at the bottom of the screen to return to the main menu. Agent deductions can be assigned as default to the agents. If they are not default, then you also have the option to select the deduction when it applies. This will be discussed in more detail later in this topic and during Topic 10. Company deductions. In the Properties menu, click on Company Deductions. These are similar to the agent deductions, except they are taken off the top of the commission, prior to the commission split. They are set up in the same manner with regard to transaction side, fixed or percent, debit and credit account, and vendor. There are also several checkboxes on the right side of the screen. The first one is Set as Default. This would only be checked if this deduction applied to every transaction. Active Deduction makes this deduction available for selection on a transaction. Once deductions are set up, you cannot delete them, but you can inactivate them. Reduced GCI means that the deduction is split by the agent and the company. If it is left unchecked, it is taken out of the company portion. The next is Referral. With this check, this deduction is taken out first, and the other deductions are taken after. Transactional only applies to fixed deductions, to allow you to charge an amount per transaction, irregardless if you have one or both sides of the deal. For example, you might charge E&O at $30 for the listing or selling side, but when you have both sides of the deal, the listing and selling sides split the $30 to $15 each. Add to company dollar is when you have a deduction to take out, but you want to add it back to the company dollar. At the bottom of the screen, you will see that there are 8 records already created. The first is the listing side professional referral fee, which is a deduction that you'll use at some point for outside referrals. This one is set up as a percent in the amount of 25% to come off the listing side. If this is not the most common referral that you pay out, you can change the default. When you select this deduction in a transaction, you will have the ability to override the amount if it is different. The debit account is set to referrals, and the credit account should be set to the commission account that is going to cut the check. You won't know the vendor until you use it, so leave it at Select Vendor. When this deduction is pulled into a transaction, then you will select the vendor that will receive the check. When there is a deduction on one side, there is normally one on the other. So there will be a set of deductions for both the listing side and one for the sell side. Normally they're similar, but there are some that are one-sided. At the bottom left of this screen, you will see the arrows that will take you to the next deduction. If you made any changes to the LS referral, then you want to mirror those changes in the SS referral. The next 2 deductions are for charging company lead fees. They are similar to referral fees, but they are charged by the company for company-generated leads assigned to an agent. The only difference in the way these are set up is that the checkbox to add to company dollar is normally checked. If you don't plan on using these, make sure the default and active checkboxes are unchecked, or reuse the deduction for another item. The next deduction is franchise fee, and you may change the name of this or any other deduction as needed. Franchise fee is a common deduction for affiliated companies. By default, it is already set to 6%, which is normally correct. If you look at the credit account, you will see that it is set to 10-10, and the vendor says Select Vendor. If these settings are left, then the system will create a check for the franchise fee for every transaction. If you don't want this to happen, change the vendor to none and the credit account to a franchise fee general ledger account. The last 2 deductions, NAF, are the advertising fees.